Hey.
Al, what time is it?
It's Podblast time.
I tell you what.
Reunited and it feels so good.
Reunited and it feels so good. Yeah, really.
Peach is an herb.
So who's back?
You're back. We're back.
That's right. I'm back.
Your drum just went out.
Yeah, well, yeah, all I can say is
You could just shut your big yap.
that's right. And you can tell I'm back because here's all the old sound effects.
And the kids?
That's right. And
little drops,
there's always kids around. Because we're talking about the Three freaking Stooges, for crying out loud. Everyone likes the Three Stooges.
I don't know of anybody that doesn't like the Three Stooges.
Well, usually the lady folks don't like the Three Stooges.
Oh, who cares about them anyway?
Well, I'm just telling you, that's usually who doesn't like them.
Wow.
I mean, usually that's the folks.
I don't know. When I was working in
Okay.
television, we had them over at 17. I talked to a lot of women that are girls that like the Three Stooges.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
I've been
No boils allowed.
I've been a Three Stooges fan probably ever since I can remember.
But who was your favorite Stooge?
Larry.
Larry. Did you have a
Curly,
favorite?
absolutely.
Curly?
Well, everybody likes Curly, and Curly's great. But for some reason, I just liked Larry.
Yeah, Larry was my George Harrison, like George Harrison to me.
Right.
He was like the.
Well, I like George Harrison too. A lot of
Yeah.
people don't like him.
Yeah.
You know,
Explain
they
who
won't-
Larry is. He's the one with the curly hair.
He's this guy right here.
Yeah, that's good.
Larry Feinberg.
He's
is
the
his
guy.
name.
I'm afraid to touch. I don't want him to fall over, but there he is. And these are designed by the same guy that did Ren and Stimpy. And you can't find these anymore.
You know, I've tried to talk Tom out of those.
No, you're not going to talk me out of them.
Those puppets a long time ago.
I bought those at Media Play. Remember Media Play?
Oh yeah.
Did you ever get a Media Play chance?
All the time. I met Leonard Maltin there a couple times.
Oh, did you?
Yeah, he signed.
He was
his
just
movie
hanging
guide.
out?
He'd making a book tour appearance.
Yeah, he would sign his movie book.
And the Kimmer guys, the Kimmer show would sign their best of CDs there.
Yeah,
Jim
yeah.
Gossett,
Oh yeah, I remember all of
Yeah,
them.
yeah.
newsmakerline.com.
True. It's funny, but like I say, we're talking about the fabulous Stooges. Everyone has a favorite, and Al's got one. Chance has got one.
What about
and I've
you?
got one. I said Larry.
I was tuning out. Sorry about
That's
that.
okay. Well, I didn't say Larry was my favorite Stooge, but Curly was was absolutely everyone's favorite. Now, according to Mo Howard, that the way Curly got that, remember when he would spit around the floor and everything, he'd forget his lines, and because he got kind of flustered, he would come up with little bits, little things, and then he would say he remember his line, and he would become foggy, as Mo called it. And that's what he would do.
He was the original break dancer.
Yeah, he
Spinning
was.
around
He
on the
was.
floor, electric boogaloo.
And Mo talked about that on the Mike Douglas show, which we'll talk about later.
Well,
I'm gonna look up.
his real name was Jerome. Jerome Horowitz, and
Yes.
Moses Horowitz, and Samuel Horowitz. They were all brothers.
Right.
And
They're
Larry-
Catholics then.
They were Catholic, and
No, they were Jewish.
They were Jewish. But Larry was the only one that wasn't a brother.
Right.
And
Right.
Larry was under contract. He was doing movies over at Universal, and
Yeah.
they got him to come over to be a Stooge.
Yes, that's correct.
But a lot of people, they know the Three Stooges by watching the shorts on television. That's where they really became popular. But Columbia, they made 190 shorts, but they made them in the early days for theaters because they weren't on television.
And some of those shorts are not unwatchable. I didn't use the wrong term. I meant you cannot watch them now because they were they're considered racist by today's standards. I'm
Well,
talking about the Nazi spy. I'll
love
never
that
howl
one.
again. Yeah, but
Mo's like, give me back my world. He's dressed up like Adolf Hitler.
Right.
For goodness
Well,
sake.
he was Hitler
And he
in
wanted this
several
globe of the earth.
it wasn't real funny.
No,
That's
it
the
wasn't.
thing.
It wasn't
well, just
funny.
like Charlie Chaplin's The Great Dictator. That really wasn't funny. It was like you say, poking fun at that particular dictator.
it's just like the Warner Brother cartoons. They were made for the movie theaters. They weren't made, of course, they weren't on television. And the Three Stooges actually hit TV in 1958.
Yeah.
That's when they became really, really popular. But
Yeah.
the Stooges were actually founded by Ted Healy.
Yes, they were.
Now, Ted Healy was a vaudeville guy, and he was born in 1896. And
Yep.
him and Mo were buddies. They grew up together. They were friends. And so he was doing a bit, invited Mo to come over to be on his vaudeville act, and that's how it really kind of all got started.
Well, they were originally called. They weren't originally called the Three Stooges. In that
No,
short,
they were not.
in a short, Hello Pop, in 1933, which we'll run a clip of it here in just a second, which was supposedly was a lost film, which they found in a guy's garage. In his, let's see, where they find it at? They found it at. It was a musical comedy film, and the film featured who cares who it featured, but Moe, Larry, and Curly were in it. They were originally known as Howard, Fine, and Howard.
Right.
So when you see the opening title card, that's what it says. It doesn't say the Three Stooges. They hadn't named themselves that yet, or etc. So and they play.
Well, Ted Higley was really a master of ceremonies later on.
That's
You
true.
know, he
That's true.
hosted. And you know what he was making back in those days?
Stupid money?
$9,000 a week
Woo!
back in the 30s. That's a lot of money.
That's a lot of change.
It's a lot of money today.
Oh, there's
but
also
you know,
more.
but that's what he was making.
Yeah. Well, the Hello Pop was originally the only missing film short of the Three Stooges, and it was found in a it says Manly Shed. I don't know what that means. It's like she shed, Manly Shed.
Yeah.
By a film collector. His name was Malcolm Smith. He was 78, and he was clearing out his old films when he came across Hello Pop, an 18-minute backstage musical from 1933 that he'd bought from another collector in the 50s. And so he'd been disposing of his film because he was 78. He didn't know who was going to take care of him when he was gone. And he came across it. He says, "I'll put it aside. I suspected it could be a lost film." Well, I guarantee you, at some point in time, I got to turn my volume down. At some point in time, they'll come across the Lon Chaney, the Midnight. What's it called? Midnight. Remember Lon Chaney? He plays a Dracula-like character. I forget the name of it all of a sudden. I'm sorry, folks, but anyway, he came across the film, and having never touched a computer or a mobile phone, he called a friend to check with vintage film experts, and so basically, MGM had a print of it. But it had been lost in the vault fire in 1967.
Right.
That's why you were only able, because you said
When I worked at Turner,
that you had a copy.
They sent me a copy.
Right, but it was on VHS, right?
It was on VHS. They sent me a copy. When I worked at Turner, I was a big Stooge fan. In fact, I programmed all the Stooges that aired on Channel 17. And so, and I would run them in order they were made.
Yeah.
I like to do it from number 1 up to 190.
Yeah.
But I actually called Turner Entertainment, and they sent me a copy.
Yeah.
I have it somewhere at home.
Well, basically, again, like we've all, well, let me rephrase that. You and I have done before in the past, when we worked at theaters, they might forget a print or whatever. We just put it aside and just, and be there. And same with 16 millimeter or whatever. I've got a bunch of prints, and so does Al. Well, guess what? I've got some rare films, and so does Al. Who knows? One day, they may be lost too.
Back in my collecting days, I had all the shorts. I had 190 of them.
Yeah.
But I sold them over the years. But I still have, in my collection, I have about 50 16 millimeter prints.
Wow.
But see, they're ones that I hand-picked that I like the best.
Well,
And, but I have all of them on DVD.
But it's thanks to film collectors. Hang on, hold your thought. Film collectors that films have been restored by the major motion picture companies. For instance, Hollywood, the Hollywood Party, which has got Lauren Hardy, it's got everybody in it. That was restored because a film collector had it
Had a
and
print.
and had a print of it.
Yeah.
Now it might have been nitrate, but it doesn't matter. The film company, whether it's MGM or Warner Brothers or whoever,
We
they
explain
didn't
what
have it.
nitrate is for the layman out there?
Nitrate is a very flammable.
I had some nitrate.
Yeah, but it's got high silver content to it, the whole 9 yards, and it's on film stock that's very volatile. In other words, it can go up like that
Because of the chemicals it's made
because of the
of.
chemicals.
And a lot of theaters back in the day, they had precautions for that. Over the porthole window where they had, where the image went out to the theater, they had these metal plates. In case of a fire, those plates would drop down.
Yeah.
And, it would save the theater from getting burned up. But the
Like on a
building-
ship
Yeah.
when there'd be a fire. The
Well,
bulkhead
yeah.
doors
Yeah, the
would
bulk-
close.
well, or when
or
they-
flood or be pierced like the bulkhead.
like the Titanic.
Well,
Yeah.
the Stooges were actually, they were active from basically 1922 to 1970.
Yeah, Mo kept pushing them.
Oh, yeah, he kept pushing them, which, they should have stopped really after
Yeah.
Curly.
Well, sure should Lauren Hardy have
Shemp
stopped
passed away,
too.
excuse me, because Shemp passed away in 55
Yeah.
of a heart attack.
Yeah. He was in the back of. He was now. I may be getting him confused with William Frawley, but he was out on the town and he just dropped.
Yeah, William Frawley from My Three Sons and I Love Lucy, right?
Yeah, yeah.
He passed away, I think, in 1964 or 5,
Yeah.
and he got replaced by Uncle Charlie on that show. But I was just going to say about film, to your point, there was a guy named Clyde Carroll here in Georgia. That name
he was a
won't
big film
mean
player.
much to the layman, the casual listener, but he was a really good friend to us. He was an older gentleman.
Yeah.
And he had all the Three Stooges on film, and I bought a bunch from him back in like 1998. He lived over by Old National Highway, kind of in a bad area of the Metro Atlanta
how many
area.
did you buy? Because he bought a bunch of them.
Well, at least 30, and I still have a bunch of them on film.
Wow.
And,
After Clyde passed away, Juanita was his wife, and
Great cook.
So I
She
got
was?
I got in touch with her. Yeah, I've had lunch over there many times.
Oh,
it's a
okay.
thrilling bit of news.
I
Is
went
my mic
over.
on?
I went over and saw
Yeah.
Juanita, and I bought a whole pile of Three Stooges because
Wow.
Clyde had them all, and so I bought a pile to replace the ones that I sold.
He even had a secret room.
Yeah, a shed out back, too.
Well, I'm talking about
No.
he had a secret room inside his house.
He did,
And you
actually,
could push the panel.
If you go through the front door, it was like a wall.
We're
there,
digressing, folks. I'm sorry.
but you had to push that little wall. and
That's
it
cool. I
opened.
love that. Like a
But,
secret passageway.
yeah, but
Secret
when you
passageway.
open that wall, the smell of vinegar just hits you. Because that's what film does. Sadly,
them goes bad, yeah.
It goes bad, and it smells like vinegar. It doesn't really smell like vinegar. It smells like a bad film chemical.
Well, getting back to
Can I just say real quick, and I'll shut up. I also bought a lot of Roadrunner cartoons from him and Warner Brothers classic cartoons like
did
Bugs
you?
Bunny.
Oh, did you?
Yeah,
I did.
yeah.
Now-
He was a
now
great guy.
Now, how's the color on those?
Still good.
They
Still
held up pretty good?
Yeah, I've got the one where Bugs Bunny's called Water Every Hair. That's
Oh.
the one with the monster and
Yeah.
Yeah,
he
that's
gets
a
on the
good one.
ether, Bugs Bunny, and he's floating around. But anyway, last thing I'll say is Clyde had like 16 locks in his front door and bars on the windows
Wow.
and yeah.
He didn't want anybody in his
Character.
house. Yeah.
But getting back to Ted Healy, he founded the Stooges, but Ted Healy, he suffered an untimely death. I hate to say it.
Yeah, he did.
And there was a lot of speculation over. He was only 41 years old, but he also was a drinker, and so he was out partying one night, and they say that he got into a fight with 3 strangers, but.
Yeah. Right.
Now it came out later that
Much later.
that some people in the show business
Yes.
they beat him up
Pretty much.
pretty bad, and Columbia shut it up. They
Yeah.
kept it quiet.
And gee, what was that actor's name that was Wallace Beery?
Wallace Berry,
Yeah.
and he was kind of a big guy anyway.
He was.
He played the big brute parts.
Yeah.
in
The
movies.
bully.
He
Yeah.
was the bully, and so and 2 other guys, they got into an argument, and they beat him up pretty
Yeah,
bad.
they did. Well, they beat him up so bad it
killed him.
ultimately killed him.
They
Yeah.
killed him.
Good Lord.
And he was 41 years old.
Yeah. He was a funny guy. He did other films.
Well, he was very
besides-
funny. He did stuff outside of the Three
Yeah.
Stooges. Yes.
Well, let's do this. Let's see a little bit of Ted Healy and Howard Fine, and they weren't the Three Stooges yet. You'll see it in the title card. Let's watch a little bit of this, okay?
Oh, good.
Papa! Papa! Oh, my children, on a night like this. Children, what do you want here? Mama went to play bridge.
Yeah, that's what she said. That same man was...
Come on, never mind that. Papa, don't hit him on the head. You know he's not normal.
I am.
Children, listen to me, will you please? This is Papa's show. This is my bread and butter, children. This is my bread and butter, children.
What, no gravy?
I'll give you gravy. I'll give you gravy. Brophy, come here.
Yes, Mr.
Take
Haley?
care of these children. Keep them off the stage, and if I see them on the stage, you're fired.
Yes,
Get
Mr.
out of
Haley.
here.
We
Get
want
out of
to
here.
see
Go
the
ahead,
show.
see no show. Get out of here and stay out of here. Get out of here and stay out of here. Stay out of here.
Wait a minute. Wait.
Our Papa owns this show, and we're going to see the show.
Yeah. I know just the place where you can see the whole show.
Goody goodies.
Hey, fellas, look what I found.
What is it?
It's the whole script of Daddy's show. What does it say?
Read it.
All right. Angelo, you stole my bride. Slaps me in the face. Angelo, I repeat, you stole my bride.
Hey, wait a minute. I can read. 2 steps to the right. Angelo, you stole my bride. Smack.
All right. So anyway, that was. There's more to it. There's
I've
more.
seen that whole short, and it's really pretty funny.
It's so cool to see him in color, though.
It's
Yeah.
funny, it was
I've
like
never seen that.
It was a 2-strip Technicolor. It was early stages.
Yeah. There was.
That's not colorized, folks. That's real color.
Yeah.
Technicolor, you said,
Yeah,
Tom.
yeah.
Wow.
But it's two-strip Technicolor.
Is it too bright in here for you? Is the lights too bright?
Yeah,
I just
it
wondered.
is. See, he's incognito.
Is that what it is?
It's either that or he wears the Steve Austin mask. Do I need to show the folks at home what that looks like?
No, it's a Fall Guy Colt Seavers mask, a crazy mask.
What did I say?
You said $6 million. You said Steve Austin mask.
Well, same thing, same guy.
Well, Colt Seavers, different character, but
I just wish they would release that short that people could buy it. But it's
Oh,
just,
it was released.
It
was
was
released in 2016.
Wow.
Yeah, it really
I didn't
was.
know- that's- I
As
did not
part
know
as
that.
part of the DVD box set, which you may have. It may be on. It's on one of the. I'll have to
Well,
get with you.
I take that back because on one of the box sets it's got extra footage or something.
Right, so it's on one of those boxes.
Oh, okay.
We probably have it and
Because I
don't
got
know
the
it.
whole series from Amazon.
yeah.
You know, and
But-
they're great quality.
But the Stooges, they had a great supporting cast
Oh yeah, I mean, well,
as they went along.
Well, one of the first guys that I really liked, he was in the very first Stooge short called Woman Haters. I'm not sure if you have a clip from that, but his name is Bud Jamerson. And Bud appeared in a lot of the Stooge shorts. And one of everybody's favorites, he was in Disorder in the Court. But he was in Woman Haters. And
was he the guy that said drop the vernacular and Curly drops it?
Yes.
Okay,
yeah.
all right.
And he
what a
actually
misogynist title.
he
Woman
also,
haters.
He also taught, and it was done as a musical medley. It's all done in rhyme. They all speak in rhyme, and it's very rare short. But what happened is Bud Jamerson was the first guy to ever poke the Stooges in the eye with his fingers, like this, and he taught them how to do that.
Yeah.
They were all lined up, and then that's when Mo turned around and he started
You
doing
thought I was smoking a cigarette or something over here?
With a candle?
It was the candle. But you know what? Here's the funny thing. You said it was done musical. For
it.
instance,
It's a musical melody.
right. But back then it was real popular to do that. Al Jolson did a whole movie like that. It's called Hallelujah, I'm a Bum. And the whole movie was them. It was basically rapping. I could show it to you after the show, and you go, okay.
But
Like rapping, like rhyming.
Yeah,
Like
yeah.
rap
But
music.
Woman Haters was all done in rhyme. And it's an odd short, and it's a
Yeah.
long one.
But it was popular back then.
It was about 18, 19
Yeah.
minutes long. It's one of the long ones, but it's all done in musical rhyme. And
True.
and they do some slapstick in it towards the end, but it's just.
Can this be found on YouTube if someone were to
Yeah.
search this title?
Sure.
Yeah. Now, one of the character actors I remember the most is now here's let's show you about the internet here.
Do you have Bud Jamerson there?
No, I don't have Bud Jameson, but Vernon
That's him
Dent
right there.
Yeah, I know, but the internet recognizes him as being Vernon Dent.
No,
Well, that's what it says. Look,
Vernon Dent was another good one. We'll talk about him, but he was a heavyset guy.
yeah,
too.
Vernon Dent was in one of their earlier ones in 1936. And I just think he's a more recognizable sort of
that's
guy.
Vernon Dent. That's him right
That's
there.
Vernon Dent right there.
And he was in a lot. He was in Stooge shorts all the way through up to Shemp.
Yes.
He was probably one of the guys in there that was in there the most.
He was, and that's why I bring him up. And sadly, that's one of the later pictures of him.
Yeah.
He died in 1963.
He died kind of a tragic death. He was
Half-shot shooters.
He was a diabetic.
Yeah.
And they said before he passed away, he had lost his sight. He couldn't see.
Yeah.
And he lost, I think, one of his legs. But he was very funny. And
Yeah.
he was just.
Al Lewis lost one of his legs too toward the end.
Who did?
Al Lewis, Munster's
Yes, he did.
grandpa.
Yeah, Grandpa Munster.
Yeah, because he was
Yeah.
diabetic.
Yeah.
So,
But again, like Vernon Dent, he was up there in years, and
that's Vernon Dent right there.
yeah, this is Vernon Dent. This
yeah.
whole thing is Vernon Dent. This is his first appearance, as I mentioned earlier. Which you probably didn't hear me. Was his first appearance with the Stooges.
Right.
And so they just got out of the military, and so they upset Vernon Dent. They would send a dog in to get his food, and he messes with them, and so
I believe that short is called Half-Shot Shooters.
yes, that's what I said
I didn't
moments
hear it.
ago.
I was just my mind was another place. Yes.
That's what we don't do here. Sometimes we don't listen to one another, and
I'm
we end up
guilty of that.
repeating each other.
That's for sure.
But there's a very young Bernadette, and the Stooges just told him they're looking for a job, and he sends him upstairs to join up again.
Well, Bernadette was in actually one of my favorite Stooge shorts, and it's actually considered the most violent of the Stooge shorts. It's called A Stooge to Conga.
Yes.
Where Bernadette plays a Nazi spy.
Correct.
And the Stooges go to repair a doorbell at this house, and this lady walks up. She's all dressed in black, and she's
Yes.
straight. She says, "Can you fix the doorbell?" And says, "Yeah." So they go in and fix the doorbell, but they find out that she, and Bernadette and this Japanese guy are spies.
Yeah.
And so it's very funny. And
That's the clip from it right here.
That's
where
it.
they arrive at the house and they immediately start destroying stuff. And
but the critics say that they Stooge to Conga is the most violent of the Stooges.
that's what this one is. Yeah.
Yeah, and it is. I mean, they do a lot of things to you.
Look what they're doing to the house. They're tearing it up.
Yeah.
Can
What
we
else?
hear sound on the clip?
Yeah, there's sound underneath this clip. But what did they do? Was this the same short that they
Well, they're
destroyed
fixing-
the set? That they destroyed the set with water and everything? Or is that
No,
different?
that's a
something?
different one. But this one, they destroy the house with they're pulling the wire.
Yes.
So trying to fix the doorbell.
Right.
But there's a scene in it where you'll see, I don't know where you have the clip there or not, but Vernon Dent, you see him walking. He's got this big,
He's got iron cross
on his chest. He's funny. It's a very funny short.
Yeah.
But a lot of these, and the black guy you see is Dudley Dickerson. We'll talk about him. He was in a lot of the Stooge shorts. The black guy. He was funny as crap.
Listen.
There's a lot of destruction in these shorts.
Yeah, they're very violent, unfortunately, but it didn't really affect too much of the kids.
I'm surprised it's not been canceled. With,
But when I watched these as a kid, I thought they were funny. I didn't think they were.
Oh,
violent.
I know.
I didn't go.
There's
out
no
and do-
blood and guts.
No, there's not.
Just smacking people around.
Like there's a scene there with a spike in his eye.
Yeah.
Did you see that?
Yeah,
But that's why they consider it, pretty violent.
Yeah.
But as a kid growing up, I didn't think they were violent.
No, of course not.
I thought they were funny.
Now, did you go around trying to imitate what the Stooges did?
No.
Not even with an eye poke?
Oh, I
Yeah,
did. And
of
I
course,
did.
yeah.
I
Sure
did
did
do
with my
that.
buddies.
Okay. Yeah.
What about
Okay.
the one where they were going to pull a tooth? I think it was Shump. He had like a bad tooth, and
It's
so
called tooth
they
will
tie.
out.
Yeah,
It's
and
called tooth will out.
they tie it to a doorknob, and
Yeah.
they can't get that doggone tooth out.
That's
But
that's good.
Yeah, that's called the tooth will out. That I like Champ too. But anyway, Dudley Dickerson, there he is right there. That was funny as crap. He was born 1906, November 27th, 1906.
Yeah.
I like the one with the spooks too.
And
It's called Spooks. Yeah,
Spooks.
It's 3D, wasn't it? Wasn't that 3D?
Yeah, it was in 3D, but I liked it whenever they
There it
had.
is. There's Vernon with the
Yeah.
big giant
there he
iron
is with
cross,
the,
and there's Mo as the Hitler,
oh yeah.
and there's Larry as the Tojo.
But Dudley
pretty-
Dickerson, he passed away in 1968.
Yeah.
And he was born in Chickasaw, Oklahoma.
No kidding.
But he appeared in a lot of the.
Well,
He was
listen-
funny.
Well, let's listen to some Dudley. Listen to me. I
Dudley
can't say it.
Dickerson. Dudley Henry
That's a
Dickerson is his
tongue
name.
twister. Let's listen to a little bit of him, everybody. And here he comes.
All right.
Move these bodies to the crematory.
Yes, sir, the crematory.
Crematory? Boy, that's a real hot foot. Let's get out of here.
Where's the doorbell?
Right up there, sir.
Well, wait somewhere else. I gotta fix it.
But I got a...
Ram!
Yes, sir. I want it right now. Ow! Let go of me!
Hey, did you see three fellas come up here?
No, sir.
Well, if you do, grab them. They're killers.
Yes, sir. What? Who's gonna grab who?
boy. Hang on, kid. Don't let him in.
How do you like that?
You sure is ugly.
And there he goes through the doors. Okay, all
You
right,
know
all
that
right, so-
that's the name of the name of that short is a gem of a jam.
Gem of a jam.
Gem of a
Gem
jam.
of a jam.
And Dudley Dickerson, he did a lot of other things outside of the Stooges. He was actually in a Little Rascal
Somebody's
short.
speaker's still up, by the way.
That expression is just priceless. It's not me.
Not me either.
Al, your
Must be,
phone's on, Al.
No, it's not. My
Well,
phone's on.
it's-
But
I'm
anyway,
muted.
Anyway,
Yeah. But Spooky, he was like I said, he was in a Little Rascal called Spooky Hooky. But
Spooky
Those
Hooky.
expressions are priceless on his face. He could bug those eyes out.
he was in Hold That Lion, and they stooged the Congo. But he's a great character actor, and I loved him in the Stooges.
Yeah, he was really a good. It's not this one. He was really a good character actor. He was in a lot of other movies too. It's along with him with Rochester and Mantan Moreland, and I may be doing a bad job with their names, but they were all very good character actors back then.
And that was great. They gave him an opportunity.
And
You
they
know, it was
did.
pre-civil rights, long
And they
before
did,
civil
yeah.
rights.
They did, and they participated. And they made money, and they enjoyed it, and that was what they did. Just like Stymie and all them other guys with the Little Rascals, etc.
Buckwheat.
Another
in our
great
game.
character actor that I liked was Christine McIntyre.
Yes,
Christine Wilson was her married name, but her Christine McIntyre, and she was in a lot of Stooge shorts all the way through Shemp.
Well, now who was the director? Now Al's got a cool little backstory here. When he worked at Turner, he used to write whether you want to call them fan letters or whatever. Tribute letters or whatever.
I programmed the Stooges on Channel 17.
Yeah.
And so I knew one of the directors was still alive. You know, in the early days, they had a couple of different directors.
How did you find his address? Is what I want to know.
You know, that's a good question. I don't remember.
You don't remember?
I think a viewer called me.
Yeah.
He lived in Chicago, and he called me and said that I should call him, and I think he gave me the number.
Okay.
But
you called him. I thought you wrote him.
No, I did call him and wrote him a letter.
Yeah.
I called him, and his name was Ed Burns. He directed a lot of Stooges after Jules White left, and so I sent him a letter, and then I called him and sent him a letter. And what he did, he answered my questions on a cassette tape.
Right.
And
right.
I forgot that I had that tape, and I ran across it not too long ago.
This is so cool. What
And
a cool exclusive.
It runs about 39 minutes, and it's Ed Burns talking about the Three Stooges and talking about, answering the questions that I asked him. He recorded the tape over a few days, and he sent
So
it to
cool.
me.
Well, let's give a little taste of what that sounds like, because what Al's going to do later for all you Three Stooge fans
I
out
want to
there.
do a special show featuring Ed Burns.
Right,
Good.
Exactly. With clip, we'll put clips together with the people he's talking about, etc. So I took like a little over a minute's worth, and he's talking about Christine McIntyre, and you'll recognize her instantly when you see her. But the voice you will hear
Is Ed Burns?
is
who
actually.
directed.
It's actually which is Ed Burns from Al's cassette tape. So let's listen to just a little piece.
He was a nice man.
A little piece of this.
Okay.
Before we start, let's have a little drink.
I agree with you that Chris McIntyre was a fine person. I've lost track of her. For a while, she was my neighbor on Kittredge Avenue, just about a mile from where I live. And I saw her on a couple of occasions. Her married name is Wilson. Her husband's name is Joe Wilson. But she moved away, and I've been unable to find her. And she made no attempt to get in touch with me. We had kind of a standing date for her to go to lunch with me and Elwood Ullman, the man who wrote many of the two-reel comedies. and with whom I collaborated on a lot of feature screenplays.
How would you feel if I stepped up to you and did this, huh?
Oh, how corny can one get? He carries the key in his coat pocket.
You wouldn't understand with all that money.
So I'm just thinking that is just such a cool thing.
That's so cool. What an exclusive.
He was so nice, and
That's really neat, man.
I've got 39 minutes worth of him telling me about the Three Stooges, and he passed away in 2000. So I got this tape back in 1981.
Wow.
He made this tape,
And the audio sounds terrific.
The audio was great,
Yeah.
and but he passed away in 2000. He was like 91 years old. He also he sent me some Three Stooges scripts.
No way.
And,
Get
Oh, look at you.
And I still have. I don't know where you can.
You got to show that for the camera for the
Can
Three
you show-
Stooges fans. Absolutely, be very, very careful
Well,
with this.
it's photocopies. It's copies.
Yeah.
But you have originals too.
I got originals. I didn't bring, but that's
very cool.
and that's from Three Little Pirates he directed.
That's very cool.
And if you head in the back, I've got. He sent these to me. He there's like call sheets. There's call sheets for the shorts.
Yeah.
And
That's
a
very
call
cool.
sheet is the time that the cast and crew are to report to work the next day. It's
And
got a
there-
schedule, times, names.
For
I'll
lunch,
be very
everything.
careful with that, Al.
And this was from 1946, and but it's Three Little Pirates, but there's hand notes in here on the script where he, if you can see, there's hand notes that he wrote
For each scene.
for each scene, yeah.
I mean, how cool is that? So, just to back up, you've already said this. I'm not trying to repeat, but you sent a fan letter, this gentleman. This guy took the time to send you a 30-minute audio tape that he recorded
Yeah.
to answer your fan letter and your
Right.
questions. That's cool.
Because it was
That's
easier
class.
it was easier for him to dictate to a tape as opposed to type it or write it down.
Correct.
At his age.
He was in his 70s.
But would a
then.
director do that
Yeah.
these days?
No,
I don't think
heavens
so.
No, they wouldn't give you the time of day. More than likely, I'm sure there's some directors that might. I would.
For money, I bet.
But you have
Yeah.
to remember when Channel 17 was on satellite, they were one of the few outlets running the Three Stooges. You couldn't, a lot of people. I mean, I'm sure there was local stations that ran them, but
Oh, Ted Turner got them the most exposure.
But
yeah.
Ted got the most.
And younger
exposure.
folks, I'm glad you mentioned at the start of the show that these were for movie theaters. These would air in the movie, not air, but they would run them before the main
were short
feature.
subjects.
It was a short. And a lot of people that are younger think the Three Stooges was a TV show.
Right.
Because they're used to seeing it
Correct.
on Ted Turner
Correct.
Superstation.
Matter of
when
fact,
they were
local
kids.
syndicated stations would make half-hour TV shows, running two of them,
Yeah.
around them.
And King World also with Our Gang, which they
Yeah.
renamed Little Rascals for syndication.
Yeah.
But what Columbia did, they you could buy the whole package of
Yes.
shorts. You could buy 190, or you could buy half a package. But Channel 17 bought all of them.
Yeah.
But Screen Gems Columbia created Screen Gems. That was their TV division.
Right.
So if you look at a lot of the older shorts, the ones I have on film, instead of having the Columbia
They have
logo,
the Screen Gems,
they have the
don't they?
Screen Gems. It's got the Columbia lady, but
Yeah,
it has Screen
you're right.
Gems
You're right.
television.
You're
And
right.
So they created that for the TV distribution.
And what I hate about it was Cohn, the head of Columbia. He kind of jerked the Stooges around. I'm going to say Mo primarily, because
well, he wasn't kind to them.
He
They
wasn't.
They made them a lot of money, but Cohen he told the Stooges,
He lied to them.
The shorts are not very popular
That's
in
right.
theaters, and he did this.
He lied to their face.
He tried to keep from paying them so much.
Right.
And what's really sad about it, when the Stooges had a contract at Columbia, of course they were paid. In the early days, they were paid $600 a week. Of course, it went up as time went on.
Yeah.
But after they left the theater, the Stooges got no residuals from television.
Residuals, yeah, they did.
Because they didn't have in the contract for television. So they were
got
more
screwed.
popular.
That happened with a lot
Well,
of actors.
that happened with a lot of actors
in the 60s and
but,
50s. And
But also, Cohn did not tell them that the shorts were doing good. Matter of fact,
No.
the shorts were doing so good that the theaters were more interested in their shorts at one time than they were at the features. So Cohn got smart, and fortunately, and said, "No, you can have the Stooges, but you got to run our B movies with it." And that's
They used it
how
to get them to run their movies.
to get them to run the B movies.
junk.
Yeah.
If you want the shorts, you got to run these B movies.
So he led Mo.
Like an Ed Wood move.
Yeah. So he led Mo to believe that the shorts really were on the decline, etc. And
He lied.
According to Mo's book, they didn't get a raise their entire time. Mo was afraid to ask him for a raise or anything because Cohn kept telling him, "You're doing lousy, blah 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 blah." So they lived in fear, constant fear, or at least Mo did, that their contract wasn't going to be renewed, and they didn't know what they were going to do. So it wasn't very cool, and that's why they did a lot of stage shows and stuff around the country and then of course, as Al was talking, when it went into syndication, a new generation found out about the Stooges, and it made them even more popular with the kids.
Didn't benefit them though financially, one dime.
No.
And I liked one of the earliest ones. I remember was one called "Slippery Silks." I know you're both good enough to recognize the title. Where they're in the hospital.
Yes, I've got that
Paging
one.
doctor. Anyway,
but the Stooges. I mean, the Stooge files out there have certain ones they like.
Oh yeah,
better.
of course.
And the critics, a lot of the ones that they like better were Uncivil Warriors. In 1935,
Yeah.
and Pain in the Pullman I have on film. That was a good one. That's the whole thing takes place on a train. And
I remember that.
I've got that one. False Alarms was rated high. Gripes, Grunts, and Groans, The Sitter Downers, Dizzy Doctors, Tassels in the Air. And one of my favorites, I have two favorites really. And one of my favorites is We Want Our Mummy from 1939, where they go to the tomb of King Root and Toot.
Yeah, we saw that one. You got that one.
I've got that on film, and that's a very funny short. Yeah. And the other one I like is called Three Little Pigskins, who has a very young Lucille Ball.
Yes.
What? I didn't know this.
Oh, yeah.
You talked about that at lunch today. I didn't know Lucille Ball appeared in the Three Stooges.
She looks like she's 25 years old.
Title again? You just said it.
Three Little Pigskins.
I'm going to look that up.
And she was in that short, and she's funny in it.
Yeah.
Lucille Ball.
Football, as in football.
Yeah.
Pigskin.
Correct.
They think that they're college football players, and at the end of the short, they're out playing football, and it's pretty funny. Yeah. But it's Three Little Pigskins.
I remember Stitch and Sew, where they're like these haphazard tailors.
Yes.
Oh yeah, but
I think Shemp's in that one. I have that one on film.
It's funny, later after Curly had his stroke, we'll talk about that. They used stock footage in the Shemp ones, and so a lot of the stock footage you saw with Curly, you saw in the Shemp ones. Not Curly, but you saw with in the Shemp ones.
Yeah. Well, the Stooges had to resort to other things even after their two-reelers went by the wayside. Whether it's comic books. Dell put out a bunch of comic books, which were done in their later years. Gold Key Comics published a series called The Little Stooges. There were only 7 issues of that. So they did other things to make money during their waning years.
What about the cartoon show?
And the
Saturday morning cartoon
we're getting ahead,
show.
but
All
there was
right,
there was
if
a
you're
new.
going to cover it, I'll shut up on it.
There was a new Three Stooges, and there was also one which you may not remember. It only ran for the Robotic Stooges. You remember that one?
No, I don't remember.
Yeah. I wish I'd looked up a clip of that one, the Robotic Stooges, and it's made by Hanna-Barbera. So
I remember that.
Yeah.
Well, like I said, I have my favorites, but Mo actually of all the shorts, he has a favorite that he made.
Yeah,
what is
because you ask that sometimes you ask an actor, what was your favorite role? What did you like better?
Yeah.
And Mo's favorite short out of the ones that he made is You Nazi Spy, and I don't know why. That's one of my least favorites because there's not a lot of slapstick in it. It's
not really funny.
It's not funny. It's more of
a
talking.
parody. It's more of a parody of the Third Reich.
Yeah, the World War II stuff.
Yeah.
But but he liked that better for some reason.
Yeah,
I just didn't. I didn't care for it.
But
I didn't.
Is that the one where Mo is dressed up as Adolf Hitler? He's going, "Give me back my world."
No,
that was another one.
That was another one.
No, that's
I forget the title. It's in my head somewhere. I know that title.
I think it's
can't
All the
think of
World's
it.
a Stooge.
But there was another character actor which everyone will remember, which Al again. He's talked to this gentleman on the phone before.
Emil Sitka.
Was it Sitka? Sitka.
Yes.
Nice guy. The T was silent.
I guess.
The T. I think the
Emil.
T. I think the T was silent.
Yeah.
And
hold hands, you love birds.
Yeah.
That was his famous line.
Yeah. So he did. I mean, he was in.
Mm-hmm.
He was in
he was in a lot of them. He was in more of the Shemp ones.
Yes.
He was in some latter Curly ones, but
yes.
he was mainly in the Shemp shorts.
Yeah, he was a veteran actor. He was a recurring villain who appeared in 1940 shorts. He was also known, just like there was the fourth Beatle was always
Best.
The fourth Beatle was always the I'm drawing a blank here all of a sudden. Was a black keyboard player. I forget his name. My gosh, I can.
I'm thinking of the other drummer that was the fourth
I'm not
Beatle.
talking about
Best.
Pete Best. No,
Yeah, okay. I didn't know about who you're talking about. That's interesting. There was a keyboarder.
Yeah, there was a keyboard player on Get Back and whatnot. But I can't believe I
But
can't.
with Emil, when he was a young guy.
Yes,
he was actually a young guy, but they made him look old.
But he was considered the fourth Stooge. I mean, the original fourth Stooge because he was in so many. He was in 40 of their shorts.
He was in more. He was the character. It was in more than anybody else.
Yes, and like you said a few moments ago, he was in mostly a lot of the Shemp ones.
And he died in 98.
98, yeah. January 16th.
I talked to him in 1981, 82, somewhere around there.
Yeah, exactly.
But he was a funny guy.
Yeah, he was. He was hilarious.
There's a whole Facebook page about Emil.
Yes. But he died in 1998, and he even came up on the revival of the Stooges. Again, we're getting ahead of ourselves here.
Yeah.
He was going to be he replaced the third Stooge, but Mo died. But we're getting ahead of ourselves. Don't mean to do that.
Well,
but
Shemp was the first person to pass away in 1955, and he was only, I think, 60. He was either 60 or 60. Shemp.
Shemp. Oh yeah.
He passed away first.
Yeah, he had a heart attack, I think.
His name is Samuel Horowitz.
Yeah.
But he had a contract. Shemp was actually under contract to Universal, and he was in several W.C. Fields movies.
Yes. He's also in a whole bunch of Vitaphone shorts, too.
Yes, he was. In fact, he did not want to be a Stooge. He was a Stooge in the early stages,
Yes.
But he left, and then that's when they brought Curly in, his other brother. But Shemp did not want to be a
Shemp
Stooge.
came back in 1946.
And he only came back at the wishes of Mo, his brother.
Yeah.
Because he said, please come back, we want to continue. And so he agreed to come back.
Well, he realized not rejoining them would mean the end
Of the Stooges.
of Mo's and Larry's film careers.
Yeah.
So that's why. But he wanted the insurance from his brother that rejoining would only be a temporary thing. And I guess ultimately it was with his death.
Until he passed away.
Yeah.
But I
see,
like Shemp just as much as I like Curly, really.
Yeah. But they were expecting Curly to make a recovery and come back. But
well, Curly had a stroke.
Yeah.
It was a debilitating stroke in 1946, May of that year.
Yeah.
No, that was Shemp. No. Curly had the stroke. That's right.
Well, he died of a cerebral hemorrhage from additional strokes on January 18th, 1952. So,
and Curly actually made an appearance in a short. He couldn't really talk, or
yes, that's correct.
I think it was Cuckoo Cavaliers. I think it was they were on.
That was the one. That was the one where they cut the scene. And the only thing that really exists now is a still.
Well, there's a scene where I think he's on a train.
Yeah, I've got it right here. Would you like to see it?
Yeah. And he's got hair.
Yes, I know.
He grew his hair.
Basically, the story is he visited the set that day just to, and the director pulled him over and said, "Hey, we can put you in this scene," and they did, and the result. And here's the result of that appearance.
We search the train carefully and give everybody a close. Say, what's a good word for scrutiny? Scrutiny. Thanks.
I don't see him anywhere. Maybe he's disguised. I'll bet that's him.
Take it off. What is that, a cocker spaniel? No, I think it's just a spaniel.
That's not him.
It was short but sweet.
Yeah, but
that was very short.
And it's at least we have him there. You know what I'm saying?
Well, yeah. And at least he came back and was able to do that one scene, even though it was a minor scene as well. It was great. It was great to see him doing that. Yeah, that other movie you were talking about, they cut that scene out of the film totally. So it's a shame.
Yeah, I don't know why that happened. And today, I mean, BTV runs the Stooges every Saturday between 6 p.m. and 8 p.m. But they don't run all of them. I don't think Columbia's, like I said,
I thought it was an hour long. It's 2 hours
it's
now?
2 hours now.
Oh, they
6
must have
to 8.
expanded it.
It was
okay.
it was so popular they run it from 6 to 8.
But they edit.
Well, no.
They don't do that anymore?
They do that the last one. They'll cut it down just to fill
I
up
don't
the
like
time.
that.
I know. They say here's a really short Stooge.
Now, you guys got me turned on to Roku and Pluto TV. Is there a Three Stooges channel out there that you know of?
I'm
That's a free
surprised.
streaming?
I'm surprised there's not.
I know.
Columbia keeps
24 hours of Stooges
Yeah,
would be a great.
yeah.
Hey,
Well, Columbia keeps
can we invest as a public domain?
Well, here's the funny thing on classic, not classic reel. Again, it's classic reel.
Rein on those shorts though. They don't want, they just don't want.
But
They
on
could
classic,
make money, though.
But on classic reel, there under comedies, there's the Three Stooges, and it plays a ton of them. A ton of them.
Well, there's two Stooges that are in the public domain. For some reason, they fell through.
Meaning two shorts.
Two short subjects. That one of them is Disorder in the Court, which is a good one,
Yeah.
and the other one's Malice in the Palace. That's
Yes.
a chimp one. Disorder in the Court's curly, but for some reason, you can find those anywhere. But because they're in public domain.
And I love a good pie fight. And boy, were there some good pie fights and slapstick with
Well, actually-
pies and flying pies. And
Well, speaking of that, a lot of the scenes
Spook Louder was one of the best ones.
Where you
Sorry.
saw the pies. Mo actually was throwing the pies because he was the only one of the Stooges that could really throw a pie and hit somebody.
True.
He was
True.
very
Good
good
aim.
at it.
Yeah.
And he was, so off camera, he was the one throwing the pies.
Yeah.
And he didn't make any extra money for doing that.
No,
I'm
he
sure.
didn't. No,
the
he
way he
didn't.
was treated, the way Tom talked about
No.
earlier.
Well, one of the funny ones, I think, is Spook Louder. The guy sitting there, and they said, "Well, who threw the pies?"
I threw the
pies.
And then he gets
Anyway.
hit in the face himself.
And actually, Mo was throwing that pie off camera.
And they had that whistle sound.
Yeah.
Incoming!
Yeah.
Well, Mo talked about a little bit of that, and he showed Soupy Sales of all people and Mike Douglas how to throw pies. Let's take a look at some of that and see how he managed to do this from the Mike Douglas show.
Right on.
How's your vulva up there, kid? Now, let's see.
How long you in town, sweetheart?
Let me start here. All right.
Oh, you gonna hit the mannequin?
Yeah. Now, you see by the weight of the pie.
Right.
Depends on what part of the palm you're holding. Like you take it from here, whang, right in the push. Now, you take this one here. This is what they call the royal shove.
The royal show.
The royal shove. You give it, pound. Everything flies. Now, there are some side throws sometimes. Wait, this is too much. This is too much on me. Watch it. Now,
A side throw? Almost got me.
stick a little more humor there. Here, you show what you can do there.
You're not trying to do what I think you're trying to do, are you? I was throwing it at the mannequin, see? Ed? I wasn't throwing it at... I mean, if I were going to throw a pie...
You can make a right-hand shelf, too, if you like. I mean, you get together on the thing.
Can I try it with this? Sorry about that. Yeah, let me try a right-hand shot. I did that wrong, didn't I?
Just quit for a while. Quit just a minute now.
All right, so
What a great clip.
You get
Good
the,
job, Tom.
I remember
you get the
seeing that
idea.
because when I worked in television in my hometown, we carried Mike Douglas show, and I remember watching that the day that it aired.
That very clip,
That very-
amazing.
that very show, yeah.
Amazing.
Yeah.
You because you paid attention to your TV guide, you saw that Mo Howard was going to be on the Mike Douglas show, and you said, "I'm watching that."
No,
by golly,
I worked in television. I was there. I was.
that's even better. You're getting paid while you watch the Mike Douglas show.
Yeah.
There you go.
So, but yeah, it was. Mo was he was the ringleader of the Stooges.
He
of
was.
course, and so he actually was kind of a bully in a way because I read an interview with Larry Feinberg. said that he kind of like abused Larry sometimes, even off camera. He was just
no kidding.
He was kind of a bully. They got along, but he was just he was the boss.
Yeah.
He was the one that
And folks, you see the phone number on the screen. Give us a call with your favorite Three Stooges short. Or whatever you want to talk about related to the Three Stooges. 678-570-0970.
Did you have a favorite? Did you tell me you had a favorite
Yeah, I did.
one?
Yeah, I did.
Which one was that? I don't remember.
Yeah, I did. Yeah. You don't remember me saying it? You mean a favorite Stooge comedy?
Comedy. You said Larry was your favorite.
Oh,
Stooge.
of course it was Around the World in a Days.
We won't go there.
Al does not like Al. No offense, Al does not like the Joe DeRita Stooges
and Joe Besser.
Joe Besser.
We'll talk about those later on, but to me, they just weren't Stooges.
That means we won't talk about them at all.
But we can mention them.
But excuse me, the one of the early ones, the Men in Black.
Men in Black. Dr. Fowler,
Dr. Howard, Dr. Fine, Dr. Howard. I love that one. Now, see, I was very negligent in not pulling but too many clips because I didn't want to have any issues. I don't know how much of a stickler Columbia is, or whoever owns them today. I think Sony Pictures owns them.
Yeah, Sony Pictures.
So we wouldn't want to get in trouble. But the Stooges, after the two reelers were done, they did a lot of cameos.
Yeah, but that was with.
And I know, but we still got to talk about it. They did those with Joe DeRita or Joe Besser, whoever. Back, unfortunately, when Curly's demise was very early in the Stooges' careers, and so was Shemp's. Really, I mean, at the end of the two reelers, I mean, there was no Shemp. Shemp didn't appear in any major motion pictures with them or as a Stooge or anything of that nature, and it's sad. That's when they brought in Besser and DeRita and et cetera.
Well, getting back to the original Stooges, World War II came around. That increased production cost. There wasn't, the money wasn't there because money was going to the war effort.
Yeah,
and so it reduced. A lot of the elaborate gags were done away with. Yeah. And a lot of times, if you watch an old Stooge short, a lot of them were shot outdoors on location.
Yeah.
They weren't all done on a set. And then when the war came around, then they relished going back on the set. A lot of the Shemp ones are on, but a lot of them were shot on location.
Yeah.
Just like we'll do a show on Laurel and Hardy. A lot of theirs were shot on location.
Yeah, they were.
And but when the war came around, then the money just wasn't there for them to do a lot of location stuff.
Yeah.
And
that's when they used a lot of the old studios back even before the Stooges. They were all open air, and they used the sunlight, and they had I'll call them sheets, but they weren't. They were diffusion, or called it diffusion in the business.
Well, you mentioned Spook Louder.
Yes.
Earlier,
yes.
That's actually a remake of a Mack Sennett short called The Great Pie Mystery.
Right. So a lot of
1931.
Yeah. Well, some of the Stooges.
That was not a Stooge production. The original that you just described. That's not a Stooges.
No, it was a Mack Sennett comedy.
Yeah.
But a lot of them were retooled and from even some of the earlier Stooges sometimes.
Or maybe a vaudeville act or a skit or a bit.
So it's kind of like it's the old adage: nothing's new anymore.
Well, it's just like Woody Allen said in an interview, "I steal from the best." I mean, but everybody steals from everybody. Yeah. They get ideas and they go with a different storyline or a different theme.
Yeah.
But that's just.
I don't know, man. That's a key word these days. You might not want to say "steal" too loudly, or your video might disappear.
Yeah,
well, no. What I'm saying is that they got ideas from other people.
I get you
in the business.
Of course.
And so, but
like my nephew Henry says, "Wheel you steal." Well, it's just a silly expression he says.
It is.
He came up with that. I think it's kind of funny.
Yeah, it is. It is funny.
I'm getting ahead of myself, but do you guys remember the Curly Shuffle? Maybe during a break you could pull that because it's public domain. It was a good song about the Three Stooges.
Yeah, I remember that.
I would play it with my laptop, but darn it, folks, I have an issue with my laptop.
Oh, too bad.
They hate my clips.
That's just too bad.
I'll get it fixed, but I can't play audio, and it is my laptop. Stefan.
Well, actually,
if you're out there,
he doesn't realize it. I messed with it earlier today.
Oh, really?
I think it's my settings or something.
I went in there and turned it off.
and we got Facebook comments. I cannot reply. I'm in Facebook jail until this Friday, for no reason. I got added to a couple groups, and anyway, long story short, I cannot comment. But let me just read some comments we have on today's show.
Headphones down a little bit, please.
Joe Bartlett, wise guy.
There you go. That's better.
Tyler Shook.
Yep.
He said, in reference to your clip with the black gentleman. What was his name? The actor?
Dudley Dickerson.
Yeah, that's such funny bits.
Oh, he's funny. He was a great guy. Yeah, he's funny in the.
Dudley Dickerson was great with especially with his eyes.
He could bug him out.
Yeah, just his mannerisms and his.
He was a great actor.
He's a good actor. He really was.
Those expressions.
But think about it, he did a lot of stuff I mentioned outside of
you
the
found
Stooges.
Yeah. So,
thank you, Tom. Listen to a little bit of it.
When me and my friends go out in the town, we can't sit still, we can't sit down. We don't like to fight and we don't like to scuffle, but we dance all night doing the curly shuffle. Hey Mo, hey Mo, hey Mo, hey Mo. Well,
He's got a video.
Well, we never miss a chance. We get up and dance and do the curly shuffle. Well, me and my friends love Larry and Mo. We love Curly's brother Shemp and his fat clone Joe. It's such a delight to boogie and hustle, dancing all night doing the curly shuffle. Hey Mo, hey Mo, hey Mo.
So there's kind of what that sounds like. A lot of people probably don't like that song. I don't know. I think it's pretty good.
It's a novelty song,
yeah,
like Pac-Man Fever.
You know, I have that 45.
Pac-Man Fever or Curly Shuffle?
The Curly Shuffle.
I want that. Is it one of your jukeboxes?
Also, I have. I should have brought. I have an album. You know, remember when they used to do the albums? They were picture albums.
Yeah.
And it's a Three Stooges picture album.
Yeah.
But it's got Joe DeRita.
Oh, and that's why you didn't bring it, because you didn't want to talk about it.
But I have a friend of mine.
I was not like Joe DeRita.
When I was working in television, this friend, Jerry Forrester, he wrote a book on the Three Stooges called The Stooge Chronicles.
Yeah.
If you can see there, right there.
Yeah.
And it's a great book, and he actually he signed it for me.
That's great.
You know, he signed the book for me. But it's one of the best books on the Stooges I've got.
Oh, look at that picture of Shemp. You just passed it. It was a nice full page. I might hold that up for the camera. If you're on fistfulofradio.com listening to the stream, check out our Facebook group, Nostalgic Podblast, and you can see what we're talking about. Or go to our YouTube channel, Nostalgic Podblast.
There's email, too. See?
Yeah, we saw email.
Yeah.
May I see when you're done? I want to look through it.
Now, on from that. Now that book is mostly about
the ship.
Yeah,
that's a good one. But I saw another picture. It was even better. It was like a headshot.
This is just about the Stooges. It's not about the movies or anything like that. It's where's that? There's a picture of. Let me find it. It's a great book, and he was back when I was working at Turner. He was a big fan of the Stooges, and he wrote this book, and that's how he. When people would call the TV station, they would put the phones through to me, and that's how I met these people.
Well, to go and show you now that I'm saying Sony Pictures was responsible for this, but how they try to repackage stuff all the time and try to make more money off of this,
There's
more money
Joe
off that.
Mose when he played Hitler.
Yeah, we already seen that. Yeah, that's great. Yeah. Saw the video of it. They'll try to repackage stuff, and they'll come up with clever packaging, some extras and stuff like that. And I know Al has all the box sets and stuff, but they also did something which a lot of Stooge fanatics are not up in arms about. Probably that's the wrong term. Are not too happy about is they colorized them. I know it all started with Ted Turner.
I don't remember that.
No, they didn't do them all, but they released a set of them, and I remember I had them.
I blame Ted Turner for all that. He started the whole colorization.
Ted started it, and this is kind of what they look like. So let's take a look at least of what they look like.
I just like the original black and white.
Yeah, no, but colorization. There's Zach Smothers and Pop Culture. They do such a great job. Mm-hmm. But this is what Columbia had done. It wasn't Pop Culture, but it was.
Oh no,
but it was Columbia or Pictures or Sony that did it. So
thank God they didn't do them all.
Yeah, they did. They only did a handful of them. Let's look at a little bit of one that was kind of okay.
How do you like that? No beer. You know, this is the 16th place we've been in.
Yeah, there ain't a bottle of beer in town.
Hey, I got an idea.
Shut up, I don't want to hear it.
So, I don't think
it looks good.
all right. Yeah,
it looks fine.
it
I
looks-
just prefer the black and white. I'm just
No,
so
I know.
used to it. I'm old fashioned.
Yeah, I mean, come on, to track those colors and make them all track and everything, it looks pretty darn good.
It looks fantastic.
It doesn't look like pastels stuff like the way Turner did it at the beginning.
Like
of course,
the Gilligan's Island terrible
Yeah.
colorization of season 1, the black and white season. It looked like poop.
And they also did it with Bewitched. And they did it with a bunch of black and white shows.
The Bewitched looked good. That
Yes,
was
they
from
do.
2000.
Turner
They
also
that.
did it with the Popeye cartoons.
Yes,
the black
they
and
did.
white ones.
And it looks great with the
And
cartoons.
The cartoons look okay.
Yeah.
We've debated this before, colorization versus not colorization. My contention has always been, hey, turn the color setting all the way down off your TV. It's black and white again. Let's
Yeah.
have the best of both
That's
worlds
true.
here.
That's
and they
true.
also did I Dream of Jeannie season 1 in color,
Yeah,
and it
but,
looked really good.
Yeah.
And they used production photos
But
to
if
get
it-
it right, to get the
True,
accurate
true.
colors
But if it
from
broke,
wardrobe.
don't fix it.
And well, the thing is, it's called repackaging. There's
Younger
a lot of
people just won't watch black and white.
Well,
yeah.
I mean, there's a lot of people out today, millennials. Say, I don't want to watch black and white. But
Right.
a lot of filmmakers today will do black and white movies.
Yeah.
Like we watched one last year called The Lighthouse, shot in black and white.
And WandaVision's in black and white, at least the first couple episodes on Disney Plus,
So,
a new
I mean,
Marvel
there's-
production.
There's nothing wrong with black and white. I think it was
No, but I'll give you an example. Like I said, Zach Smothers over there, he did the Munches, and they look amazing. I mean, I would think that would breathe new life into that show if they let him do the whole series. But anyway, that's just me. So as I mentioned earlier, they did a lot of they did a lot of cameos. Yes, I know it wasn't with Curly or Shemp, but they did one with a very famous actor who I know you guys will recognize as soon as you see him. And we won't stay with this clip very long, but here it is. See if you recognize the movie.
I should only be that
The
lucky.
storage company sent us over to deliver your picture.
What makes you so sure it's her?
Oh, it's her, all right.
Are you kidding? There can't be any doubt, mister. Come take a look.
You guys recede.
You figure she really posed for that?
Yes, that's me.
Yeah.
I wonder if he did it from memory.
Yeah, that's her. I wish my wife looked like that.
This was the only thing my husband left me. He was a connoisseur of art.
It's a shame he didn't leave any clothes to go with it.
Who pays us the $2?
I do as soon as you hang it over the bar in the main saloon. Up the gangplank to the starboard.
Yes, ma'am.
Right?
Hey. Starboard on the boat is to the right.
That's where I'm going.
Now, look. When I say go, we'll both point to the right. Go! I'll do it so even you can understand it. Now, go! Curly Joe. This guy's a nitwit.
Yeah, he's stupid.
Yeah. Now, when I say go, we'll all point to the right. Go! He's stupid. Captain, help me out, will you? I'm dealing with two mental midgets here. Uh-huh. Now, when I say go, we'll all point to the right. Go! Wait. Go!
There they are! There they are, sister! There they are!
So basically, this painting was Ursula was going to go over the bar of the
She looks like
of the
Melania
ship.
Trump a little.
Yeah, she does. Yeah, she does.
But it's cool.
I've
and
never
everything.
seen this.
But that's cool and everything. But the Stooges look sad to me in that.
When they're older, you mean?
Yeah, they're not the original ones. I mean, Mo and Larry are there, but that's it. I mean, it's just
No Curly.
they
You got
just
Joe,
put,
right?
They put them in
Yeah.
there just to put their name in the credits, and it's kind of like I don't know. I feel like they're being abused or something. I mean, they're not. It's
still funny. It's still fun. I mean, this scene is still pretty good considering
I
what
like
it
the movie
is.
because I like westerns, but
Yeah. Yeah.
I
But-
guess I'm a purist. I don't know.
That's okay. It's your right not
Opinions
to
are
like
like rear ends. Everyone's got one.
That's
true.
right.
That's
There's no
true.
right or wrong in an opinion.
Yeah.
But if you talk to Stooge Files, I mean, the shorts is what mattered.
Well, of course.
Yeah.
No
That's
one
their
debates
prime.
that.
That's their heyday.
Yeah, no one debates that. Yeah.
And Mo, Larry, Curly, and Shemp
But
the original.
Joe
Stooges.
didn't do any of the classic shorts, did he? Wasn't he just in the movies?
Joe
primarily?
Besser did some classic shorts in the late.
He finished out Shemp's contract after Shemp passed away.
Because in that Curly Shuffle that we played, there's a line about, and his fat clone Joe.
Well,
there's
you
a
know,
line in that. I don't.
Joe Besser did a short that it was somewhat okay called Spaceship Sappy.
Yeah.
It was okay. And you know who else was in it? Who played the goon, the monster?
Tell us out.
You forgot, didn't you?
No. That's just like, Bonanza. What's his name?
Hoss Cartwright.
Hoss Cartwright.
Yeah, Dan Blocker.
Dan Blocker played the goon. And if you look on the credits, it's got Dan Blocker, but he played the goon in it.
Yeah.
And think about it is, he looks like Dan Blocker. You know, he's got, but he still looks like
His
Dan
son
Blocker.
looks like him too. Dan Blocker had a son.
Yeah, he
did
does.
some
Yeah,
acting
he
in the
does.
70s, like
but it's
Chip's
called
episode. He looks
Spaceship
just like
Sappy.
him.
Yeah, it's an okay short. It's
He
not-
did that show with Robert Conrad too, Baba Black Sheep or something.
Yeah, that's right.
He was in that. He
You're
was in
right.
that show as well.
Good call.
Yeah, that was
But you know, I didn't. Like I said, I didn't care for Joe Besser in the shorts.
Well, you know, Joe Besser said he didn't care for you either.
We got some Facebook comments. Tyler again said,
just kidding.
He said, the old man clip of Mo touched my heart, meaning the clip we played
Yes.
with Mike Douglas.
Yeah.
Where he's throwing
Yeah.
the pies and teaching him how to throw a pie.
Well, you know, the Stooges, they kept going. They kept going until they passed away, basically. You know, like Laura and Hardy kept going to when they weren't making any more films. They did a tour, and that's what this movie that's of Stan and Me, you know, that it's based on. And not Stan and Me. It's not,
Well, you
it's
know,
not called
I'll
that,
go through. You know, Mo, he passed away May 4th, 1975. Not long after
the Mike
the
Douglas,
Mike Douglas show,
Yeah,
and he died of lung cancer.
Yeah.
Larry Fine, who was my favorite, Larry Feinberg was, you know, he died in 1975 at 72. He had a stroke.
Yeah, he had multiple strokes
Yeah.
prior to that.
And,
That was a rough year for the
and he
Stooges,
went
my
to the-
lord.
Shemp-
1975.
And Shemp, he passed away November 27th, 1955. He was only 60.
Yeah.
Wow.
And Curly passed away in January 18th of 1952. And he was only 48 years old.
Of what cause?
Cerebral hemorrhage.
Cerebral hemorrhage.
Yeah.
And
So-
Joe Besser passed away of heart failure in 1988. He was 80.
Yeah.
But
Now, what about Joe DeRita? Your favorite
I
Stooge?
didn't look him up because I didn't care.
I'll look him up.
Just like, you know. But, you know, Joe Besser was there because it was on the list.
Yeah.
But, you know, it's just...
Well, Joe DeRita did an interview for KGO TV, Channel 7, San Francisco in 1988.
Oh, good.
Where he talks about the Stooges. Now, I didn't bring the clip in, but we can...
What year was that?
This
Because
is
he
19
died in 1988.
This is 1988.
Was he dead
Right
when
before
he
he passed?
No,
was he dead when he made this? Just like,
Where's my rim shot when I need it? Well, here it is. There you go.
he's back from the dead.
He's back from
folks.
hell. Yeah,
He's
man.
back from the dead.
Yeah, he's back from the dead. This is probably let's consider this the last interview he ever did. But I didn't bring it in. He still looks like Joe DeRita. His ears are bigger, and he's a little bit bigger than he was. But he talks about the Stooges rather fondly, and
Well, I'm sure he does.
yeah.
You know?
Wait, why shouldn't
He
he?
had work.
Why shouldn't he? Let's listen to just a little bit of that.
When I was in Chicago working for Minsky at the Rialto Theater, they came in and played the Oriental Theater, their headline. They used to drop down and say hello to the little actors, you know, the comedians and the straight men and the strippers thing. It was used to be a vaudeville theater, and then they got it and they put it in a burlesque show. I had about 15, 20 girls and a couple of strippers and a straight man and
He says strippers a
couple of
lot.
comedians, and every couple of weeks they might change a woman here and a woman there, or maybe a comic was working there. He has to go to Milwaukee to go in the show there. So I met the boys that way. But I never thought at the time that I would ever be associated with them on the stage. Because
So anyway, he's talking about how he first met them at one of the vaudeville theaters, because back in the day, vaudeville was the way to go.
Well, you know that when the Stooges were appearing in short subjects in the theater, they also accompanied in larger cities where they had the vaudeville. They showed up. Did
Yes.
a stage show. And in Atlanta, I was not living here at the time. I wasn't around. But they had the Erlanger Theater downtown. And the Stooges actually appeared at the Erlanger.
Yeah.
The Erlanger, you might remember, later became the Atlanta Theater. It was a big, and then later it became the Columbia Theater where you went and saw.
The new Columbia.
But that was a huge old theater. It was big as the Fox, if not bigger. It wasn't this elaborate, but it was the first theater in Atlanta that had Cinerama. Yeah. They showed how the West was won and the big Cinerama screen. And I worked there with my friend Bob Carr. And so back when it was Columbia.
Hold on. We describe what Cinerama is. We have talked about it in previous show, but people don't listen to all of our shows. So
Cinerama is a screen as big as almost as the building, and it's got a giant curve in it. And it has a louvered screen. In other words, where my screen in my theater is just flat with holes in it for the sound to penetrate.
It's concave, and it takes three projectors. There's three projectors in sync. It was a very complicated thing to do.
But the screen is louvered. In other words, it's just strips.
Like louvered doors. No,
it's just strips. But it's
and the new Columbia had that.
They had that. But anyway, so they the Stooges actually appeared at that theater when it was called the Erlanger back in the day. But that's what they did. They traveled the country to promote themselves in their vaudeville shows and when they showed the shorts and stuff.
Well, one of my favorite shorts, and I'm sure, excuse me, every Stooge file out there will agree, was when they did sing, because they could sing rather well. Larry played the violin.
B-E-B-B-I-B.
Thanks, Mr. Spoiler.
No, I didn't know what you were going to pull up.
What did you think I was going to pull up? My goodness.
We'll play it.
So,
they sing better than I do.
You've already sang it, so why bother? Why ruin your audition? But anyway, it's called Swinging the Alphabet. Let's listen to some of that, because it was just really, really good.
No, they were great.
Ladies and gentlemen, I'm going to sit down. I'm going to test your mental sit down. I'm going to test your mental coordination with a little sit down, with a little number called Swinging the Alphabet.
Swing it, brother, swing it.
Right up. I'll explain it so even you can understand. My colleagues will assist. Ready, sister? Get that junk out of here. Come on, boys, scram. I'll give you the idea in a nutshell. B-A-Bay, B-E-B, B-I, Bicky Bye, B-O, Bo. I'll give you the correct demonstration. Cutie pie, pound those horse teeth.
B-A-Bay, B-E-B, B-I, Bicky Bye, B-O, Bo, Bicky Bye, Bo, B-U, Boo, Bicky Bye, Bo, Boo.
C-A-C, C-E-C, C-I, Sicky-Si, C-O, so, Sicky-Si, so, C-U, Sue, Sicky-Si, so, Sue.
Get the idea, girls? Now we'll all join together on the letter D.
D-A-Day, D-E-D, D-I, Dicky-Di, D-O-Do, Dicky-Di, Do, D-U-Do, Dicky-Di, Do. F-A-F-A, F-B-B, F-I, Bicky-Bye, F-O-Fo, Bicky-Bye, Fo, F-U-Foo, Bicky-Bye, Fo, Foo. G-A-J, G-E-G, G-I, Jicky-Jai, G-O-Jo, Jicky-Jai, Jo, G-U-Ju, Jicky-Jai, Jo, Ju, La-da-da-da, F-J-A, H-E-E, H-I, Hicky-Hi, H-O-Ho, Hicky-Hi-Ho, H-U-Hoo, Hicky-Hi-Ho.
We got distracted.
I wasn't looking.
Yeah, we got distracted.
I wasn't looking. I'm sorry.
Chance had to leave us.
Chance had to go, shall we say 10-200. That's what we say in the business.
He had to go poop.
Well, I wasn't going to say that. That's why I said 10-200.
Well, I told him, I said, don't stink up the room.
He had a medium rare burger at lunch. So I'm just going to leave it at that.
I guess that's why.
Well, of course that's why. I'm sure his mother wants to hear us talking about Chance's bowel movement. Sorry, Al and I humbly apologize. At least I humbly apologize. I don't know about anybody else. But anyway, above and beyond that, that was my favorite clip. Even though we let it go to black, I'm sorry about that. Because that's what I remember, even as a kid. That's the thing I always remember was that crazy song, Swinging the Alphabet. And it was so well done.
Well, the first time you saw the Stooges was on TV, right?
Oh, absolutely. Yeah. Now, I remember going to the matinees at the Village Theater in Hilton Village in Newport News, Virginia. And on Saturday mornings when they ran matinees for the kids, and we're talking back in the early 60s, they would run a Three Stooges short. So I saw them
and I do
as
remember growing up, they used to run them at the drive-in every once in a while. They had them at the drive-in at movies.
But it was mostly Shemps. I don't know why.
They probably ran one of their prints they had.
Yeah,
because
yeah.
they probably beat them to death, and when they the prints in the theater. But what we haven't mentioned yet, they also, the Stooges did some shorts in 3D, because at the time, the 3D gimmick was hitting the movie theaters to get people to go to the movies.
Yes, they were.
Because of television, they invented CinemaScope to get people back in the theaters, and then when TV and cable came along, cable TV, then they invented 3D.
Now, didn't they do more than one 3D short? Right? They did Spooks.
They did Spooks was one,
and the one about Egypt, right? We Want Our Mummy, wasn't that a 3D?
No,
wasn't that a 3D?
We Want Our Mummy. That was.
Why was I thinking that was a 3D?
The other one was when they worked at a gas station, and these criminals came in, and they wanted to fix the car because the car had been damaged from, from their rob or whatever. And so, and the Stooges are working in the garage, and they're using that 3D. And what's the name of that short?
I don't know, but I'm sure that one of the Stooge files will let us know.
That was in 3D. I can't remember.
How dare us do a show on the Stooges and not know that information?
Welcome back.
How dare us? How dare us?
Are you okay?
Gas attack. False alarm.
Sorry. Well, make sure you tell your mother. Al talked at length about your problem.
I'm sure he did. Some bathroom humor.
Yeah. Pull that mic down some. So there you go.
Oh, I didn't mean to tug like that.
No,
we were talking about the Stooges in 3D. They made some shorts in 3D,
like Spooks.
Yes, but there was another one, and I can't think of the name of it.
Let me look it up.
So anyway, they went along with the times because what they did, 3D became popular. They did a 3D. Shemp was with them when Shemp came aboard. He also marked a major milestone for the Stooges as well. It was their first TV appearance, which I wish I had looked for this clip. I'm sorry I didn't now. In 1948, it may not even be out there. Why don't you look and see if it's out there, a chance. Okay. Milton Berle's Texaco Star Theater and Maury Amsterdam's The Maury Amsterdam Show. So they appeared with Shemp, not Curly, of course, on those shows. And I'm sure they exist as a kinescope somewhere.
I'm sure they do somewhere.
And by 1949, they also filmed a pilot for ABC for their own weekly television series, which was called Jerks of All Trades, which is, but Columbia Pictures, once again, stepped in and blocked the series from going into production.
Really?
So, but Columbia Pictures, oh, bless their hearts, allowed them to make television guest appearances. Wasn't that nice of them?
Yep.
Yeah.
Not really.
I'm being very sarcastic.
Mm-hmm.
They went on to appear on the Camel Comedy Caravan, also known as the Edwin Show, which I've got a banner from right up there on the Texaco Fire Chief. Of course, this was from the radio show, if I'm not mistaken. Thursday night, it's NBC. So it's interesting. They did the Frank Sinatra, they did Colgate Comedy Hour, the Eddie Cantor Comedy Theater, amongst others. So so they did a lot of self-promotion, at least, and some of it probably exists out there.
Pardon My Backfire.
That's it.
That's in 3D.
That's in 3D.
Three Stooges, 1953.
Right.
But they only did two, right?
They only did two. That's
only did two.
And Spooks.
Yeah. And Spooks.
That's when the car backfires a lot.
Oh, I remember that.
And it's funny, but and then Moe's down there, and it backfires, and it gets his face all black.
Yeah.
And Spooks was also shot in 1953.
Right.
Yeah.
They're the only two that they did in 3D.
What was out that year that was a theatrical release in 3D? Was that when House of Wax came out?
Yeah. It's like I said, it was with the times.
And one of the Creature of the Black Lagoon. Oh, I'm sorry, you're playing something.
No, it's okay. I'm just having
one of the Creature. I think Return of the Creature from the Black Lagoon was in 3D. I think. Anyway,
I never was a fan of 3D. I didn't like wearing those stupid glasses.
Well, nobody did, because back when 3D first came out, there was red and blue.
Yeah.
I believe those are the colors.
Yes.
And to me, you couldn't watch anything in color worth the darn.
Now, you remember, me, you, and our long-lost buddy passed away, Tom Hudgens. We went to our
Steve
buddy
Cinevision
to watch a Three Stooges in 3D, and it actually looked pretty good.
It did because it was done. It used the newer glasses.
The newer glasses.
And he also ran the way it used to be run on dual projectors, House of Wax with Vincent Price.
Love it.
Remember that?
Mm-hmm.
So
that-
Revenge of the Creature came out in 55. Anyway, enough said.
Yeah.
Just an update.
Yeah, and the Revenge of Creature is right up there on the wall, but you can't
It's
see
not in
him.
the shot.
You can't see. Well, I know it's out of the shot. But
I
you
could go
can't-
knock it down like it's
No, let's don't do that. Yeah, he fell off the wall one time, and so what was cool about let me kill that real quick. They didn't want to hear that again. What was cool about the Stooges was they stood the test of time, basically.
And they still do. They're
and they
on
still do.
MeTV
Yeah, they still
every
do.
week for 2 hours between 6 and 8
Yeah.
on MeTV.
Now, Classic Reel, if you have a Roku box, on the channel's called Classic Reel. Look it up, and they have an amazing collection of films there, which they've taken the production company off the top of, like 20th Century Fox, or whatever. And the quality is very good. It's not like it's a really bad
do they
60
break in
millimeter
with
print.
stupid commercials?
No, they don't. There's no commercials.
No commercials? Oh.
And it's called Classic Reel. If you scroll down past,
I
and
have
you
that
go,
on my
and you go,
Roku, but I've never really paid that much attention to it.
all right, let me finish.
Right.
And if you go to sorry,
Did I interrupt you?
Yeah, you did.
Oh, I'm sorry.
I'm trying to get a point across, and you're not letting me. You guys aren't letting me. So, Larry has a bald spot. Anyway, to make a long
Join
story
the club.
short, if you scroll down to comedies, I think there's like 3 or 4 pages of comedies, and there is a Stooge section. And if you click the Stooge, it plays like 6 or 7 or 8 hours nonstop of Stooge shorts.
Really?
Yeah.
How's the quality?
And it's from the DVD set that you've got, because
Really?
it shows the picture of it, and they're back to back to
Is
back.
that legal?
It's legal.
I
Of
guess
course,
it
it's
is.
legal.
They pay for it?
Yeah, apparently they do. So, and the quality is very good.
Oh, the
So-
quality is taken directly from the
Yeah.
35 negative. I mean,
Yeah.
they look great.
Yes.
Got an update. You were talking about the Milton Berle show with
Yes.
the Three Stooges. Well, I found something on IMDb. This aired October 10th, 1950. Check out this lineup. The Three Stooges, Yogi Berra from the Yankees, Alice Pierce. You know who Alice Pierce is? I know you do. The original Gladys Kravitz on Bewitched, the nosy neighbor. She passed away of cancer, sadly, in 65, and they recast her. for
And
the
they did a
color
good job of
episodes.
recasting, but go ahead.
They did. Oh, and then Georgie Price and the Weavers. And
Well-
season 3, episode 4 of the Milton Berle show.
Yeah.
That's the one you
but see, back then, even
What
though
a
shows
cast.
were live, they usually did a kinescope of them. And it's a shame that there's not a quote-unquote channel, which there kind of is.
What,
It's
on the
called-
dark web?
No, it's not on the dark web. It's called TMC. It's a newer channel. And
Like
they have
Turner Classic Movies.
It's like Turner Classic Movies, except it's called TMC. And they have a lot of the Colgate Comedy Hours and a lot of
it's the movie channel.
And for those that don't know, a kinescope is a
It's not called-
recording of a monitor. It was a live show, and people that were smart actually invested in having film stock on hand, and they would record the live monitor. Also, so they could show it
Jackie
coast to
Gleason did
coast.
that.
Correct.
Right. Like most shows that were live were out of New York, and they had to get it to the West Coast.
That's true.
And so
the other bad part about that being kinescope, if the show was even in color, it would still be a black and white kinescope.
Right.
It's like I've got a black and white kinescope of the Lawrence Welch show of all shows.
And Maude, the sitcom
and,
Maude.
and Maude, and a lot of the military. That's how they would run the films, and they would say, "Yeah, we'll just take the black and white copy because it's cheaper."
Well, when I worked in television, we ran. When I worked in North Carolina, we ran movies every Saturday night.
Yeah.
You know, at 11:30, we ran a late show after the 11 o'clock news. But we ran black and white prints of color movies
because it was
we got 'em
cheaper. Yeah, because it was cheaper. Yeah. And that's why there's probably so many of them out there.
And that Milton Berle show, all those guests, that was just 1 hour show. It wasn't 90 minutes or 2 hours. 1 hour.
Yeah.
That's jam-packed entertainment.
Yeah, it really
Yogi
was.
Berra.
The thing about it is, they don't
And
have
the Three
shows
Stooges.
like that anymore. There's just no.
No, they don't.
I guess Alice Pierce was a stand-up comic. I'm sorry,
Yeah.
like Joan Rivers
Yeah.
before she
It was just-
was a character actor.
Well, you know what time it is now?
One more thing?
That's one more thing. And
I have one more thing. Can I go?
Okay. Yes, you can go first.
All right. Well, a lot of people didn't care for him later because he did some very bad things, like he killed this lady. But, Phil Spector passed away today. If you're watching the show live, he passed away today. He was 81 years old. He was in prison. He got sent to prison for life for killing that woman.
Yes.
And so, but he was in prison, and they say he got COVID, and they took him to the hospital. This was a couple of weeks ago.
Yeah.
And so he got better. He got over it. And so they sent him back to the prison, and he got it again and died.
Now he's in hell.
But,
probably so.
but you can't you can't deny what he did for the music industry.
Yeah,
He created the wall of sound. He created the Ronettes and the Crystals and all that.
And he worked with the Beatles too.
The Beatles and that great sound he produced. They call it the wall of sound.
Yes.
And but he passed away today at 81.
And he was in an I Dream. He was in an I Dream of Jeannie episode too as himself.
Yeah.
Season 4.
And he had that. he had that crazy hair.
Yeah.
Wait, I was going to go next. I'm going to go next and tell everybody this is Telly. This is Telly. She's a
Telly
puppy
is
dog.
a sweet dog.
She's
Actually,
a sweet puppy dog.
She's a smart
this
dog.
is Telly right here. Yeah, she wants to get up. She wants to get up on the table. I can't let her get up on the table because
She's a rescue.
She'll walk over
She's a
everything.
rescue. She's a sweet
She's
dog.
a rescue. She's a sweetheart. She's a sweetheart. Chance, go with your one more thing, and I think I've got a picture to even go with that when you're ready for it.
Of course, I got to make it about me, but I really tried hard to get on this show. They made a movie, the Farrelly Brothers, The Three Stooges, shot in Georgia, and I worked on it for 16 days at a mansion for the party scene towards the end of that movie.
Yeah.
And it was right down the street from the governor's mansion. But we were outside, and it was summertime, and I had to wear a camel hair coat and a tie that you see in that photograph.
Yeah.
And anyway, no lines or anything. I was just like an extra, but we had so much fun. Even though we were sweating our you-know-what's off, it was a lot of fun. And the guys that played the Three Stooges in that movie, they did a great job with the casting.
Yeah.
Okay. And,
they did.
And Larry, that's the guy from Will and Grace.
Let me see this.
Yeah.
He looks nothing like himself. They did an excellent job with the makeup.
He's going to want to borrow that.
Well, I think there's a DVD version along with that Blu-ray. Anyway, I worked on that.
Excuse me.
And thanks to Janelle and Patrick of Extras Casting Atlanta for picking me and many others to be a part of that show. And you know who visited the set one day? Billy Bob Thornton just popped in. He was in the neighborhood.
Billy Bob,
he crashed the set for a while. And they
That's
had this
very
huge cake. I'm most notably in the scene where this girl is carried in the air by balloons, right? You know, it's kind of slapsticky.
Yep.
And then Larry's like, oh, I got to get a balloon popper. And he grabs this gun, shoots the balloons, and she goes falling into a cake.
Hence the little girl in the foreground there in the lower right-hand picture.
Yeah.
And the expression on your face.
Yeah, it looked like I smelled a fart.
Now, do me a favor. Now, we're going to go live again, and I want you to make that expression for the camera right there. The camera right there. All right, now let's do a comparison. Let's see.
Ew. I like the picture better.
It's not bad. It's not bad. Let's see it again. Here we go. Oh, your mouth is a little more open on the picture. Okay.
Real attractive.
You know, one thing we didn't talk about, which I know the last hurrah for the Stooges, there were actually two of them. There was a cartoon which you see right here.
Right.
It was called the New Three Stooges. I don't want to spend any time on this, but because it wasn't very good.
I'm glad you're covering it though.
But this was one of their last hurrahs that they did.
Mm-hmm.
But also the ultimate last hurrah never got really released. It was Kook's Tour. Let's listen to a little bit of that.
Hi, remember us? That's how we made our living for 50 consecutive years.
Yeah, we got scars to prove it.
And I still got a few of the aches and pains. Yep, for a half a century we've been stars. And suddenly we realized that although our work took us around the world, we never got to see anything but the inside of our dressing rooms.
And what do you think we finally did?
We quit.
So they derived a lot of this from Super 8 footage, etc. They can't seem to locate the original 16 millimeter master, as they call it, and because it was shot on 16 millimeter by Norman Mayer, the guy who wrote one of these books that you've got here. His it's the yellow one. It's a series 2, just scrapbook, I believe. You see her name,
Yes,
Joan.
Joan
That's
Howard
the daughter.
Mayer. She's the daughter of Mo.
Right, but her husband produced and wrote it and did all this stuff. So anyway, just to let you know.
And we didn't, like I said, the Stooge shorts is what we all remember and love, and will always cherish.
Yeah, exactly. And
they make you laugh out loud for real.
They really do. They really do. And they,
well, I like
good, clean fun.
I like slapstick. I like to see people fall down in the snow.
Yeah.
I like to see people. It's funny.
Hey, next time, please tell your Sean Hannity story about Moby.
I'll do
when
that.
you went to lunch with Sean Hannity. It's
Yeah, I
it's
did.
a great story. I wanted to feature it, but we'll save it.
We'll save it.
Always
you know.
leave them wanting more.
Yeah.
Well, listen, we thanks everybody for being with us today, and watch for the replay of this whenever you want to see it. And it's on different outlets, Spotify, and a couple of other
And
places.
our website that you set up?
The web. It's not on the website yet, but it's visit our
And why
website.
not?
Just because I haven't had time.
But people should know we have a new website thanks to Mr. Tom Williams,
Yeah.
otherwise known as Basil Chesterman in
Yes,
Facebook land.
that's correct.
NostalgicPodblast.com.
That's right.
Where's the kids? NostalgicPodblast.com.
Well, the kids are
Go there today.
The kids are here somewhere, but they're
That's
they're,
okay.
out, they're out to lunch. There they are. The kids are here. All right, kids. We'll see you next week for Tom or Basil. We'll see you next time.
Al, and don't forget to watch the Stooges every Saturday on MeTV.
That's right.
6 and 8.
All right. Ta-ta, everybody.
Bye.